one word for whether or not your reaction to the Vince announcing these two. One word for your reaction. Go.
That's it.
Excited.
Excited? Amen.
Hopeful.
Optimistic.
Okay. Those are all three very positive words.
Thank you.
So
thanks, Biggie.
What is your word?
What's my one word?
Mm-hmm.
Pancake.
Videos.
No. Cautious.
It's a good word.
That's
Cautious.
a good word.
It's a good word.
It's a good word.
Like our words of the week.
Because I really do think that this is WWE, based off of a point from one of the McMahons that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. I think that this is also WWE acknowledging that. This is the wrestling equivalent to calling in the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. That's what this is. This is the equivalent of calling in the heavy hitters. Which we've already seen because they had to dig Taker out of mothballs to put him back on Raw on Monday.
Come on, man.
Come on.
So, I don't say that because, I love the guy, but, it's one of those things where it's like, guys, just, even watching him in the ring, you can tell that he's limited in his motions. So, considering the fact that, now this isn't necessarily on him, but McIntyre and McMahon both were already halfway over the top rope by the time Taker made contact with him.
It's fair.
Just bad timing.
So, that's why I said it's not all on him. It's not all on him. But the reality of it is that there is a situation where we don't know what a match with him is going to look like. Now, I do think putting him in a tag match is good,
right? Because
he doesn't have to carry the heavy lifting of the match.
Right. I was going to say the same thing.
McIntyre and Reigns will carry the weight.
Although
of the
I do
match.
feel like this will lead to a McIntyre Undertaker match at WrestleMania.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
That is actually so. The rumor, and I preface that specifically. The rumor is that Taker has requested McIntyre as his retirement match at WrestleMania 36.
Fair enough. And if you think about it, he's already had a WrestleMania match with the other two. So there's the only other one.
Hey, who's going to be there? Are we going to
We'll be there.
We're going to be there.
We'll
Absolutely.
be there.
Maybe if you hang out with the cool kids, you won't get stranded this time.
Well, if she can walk.
Yeah, I didn't get stranded. Okay, it was just.
So what time did you get?
Almost got kicked out.
I think it was 3:30 or.
So you were
4.
stranded.
But no, I wasn't stranded.
We were asleep.
It just took that long to get back.
We had already gotten back. Had a
I didn't choose
had a
my
fatal
hotel.
4-way match, and then gone to bed.
That's true.
It's true.
There was some jumping off of the beds onto the floor. The poor people below us in the hotel were. There were 4 grown men that.
They're probably pissed.
They either thought that we were kids, like really heavy kids,
or somebody was fighting.
Right.
I mean, it was kind of a combination, though, of all that sums up what it actually was.
That's true. So, moving on to our next topic of the evening, I want to talk about Rusev. So, a guy who came in to the program, to WWE, with so much fire and passion, and had so much potential. I mean, he got to wrestle against John Cena at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So, and now he became almost WWE almost tried to make him a joke with Rusev Day, which took off like wildfire.
I think that one backfired on him, and then they just kind of grabbed it and held
went
on.
over great,
and they just ran with it.
But they've also done some things with Rusev that I'd always struggle with WWE on when they've got Lana, who just abandons her Russian accent while she's
But she hasn't had that for a while now, right?
But that's not my point. She started with it and then dropped it. Kofi dropped the Jamaican accent.
Well, that's also because he got called out by Randy.
He was faking.
So, it's just. I mean, that's just my personal thing for me. I can't stand it when they do that.
Oh no, I do agree.
If you're going to commit to something, then stick with it because you can't treat wrestling fans like they're stupid anymore. In the 90s, you could do that. Because they didn't have the internet, they weren't able to go look up stuff. But now you can't do that.
No.
Because they can educate themselves.
Yeah.
So Rusev has requested a leave of absence from WWE, and his contract is going to be up in about 2 months. Does he stay or does he go?
Leaves.
I think he stays.
Yep.
I don't think he does.
I kind of think he stays because where's the market for him?
Exactly. And Lana is very involved in Total Divas. Not that that's a huge thing, but they get a nice check from it. It's good exposure. She loves it. Like, they really enjoy being on that show. And I think
they get
good.
more attention on that show than they do
exactly.
in ring.
And I don't want to say it's easy money for them, but where would he be an AEW guy? Like, I don't see him fitting in there.
That's what I'm saying. Where's the market?
And that's my thing. I kind of, I don't know. I think he stays. Where?
ROH.
I just don't see it.
I don't see him anywhere. Besides, obviously, WWE.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what are you trying to
I
say
feel
there?
like
No.
they've created such a niche for him. I don't know what Lana's going to do. I think Lana could probably just go somewhere and do Total Divas and nobody's going to realize it. But I think he has such a niche carved out that WWE's made for him. I think it's almost like when actors get typecast.
Okay. Yeah, I
Like
can see that.
you get stuck. You get stuck in one type of role.
Yeah.
And heel face doesn't really matter for him now. Like he's the same guy, no matter what. And I think you can't take what he is in WWE and take it elsewhere and expect people to believe anything different.
No, I think that's true. Here's a question that I've started asking myself, and you guys give me some feedback on it. But with any of these folks that I've looked at, that I ask myself, okay, well, if they left WWE, where would they go? The question I ask myself is, well, would I miss them?
Yeah.
And so
I get it.
my question, or my answer to myself with Rusev is, no, I wouldn't miss him.
As is now, no.
Now, if you would have asked me that question 2 years ago, I would have given you a different answer. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a large part of that is due to the failure of booking for these guys. Yeah. So, because if they don't create storylines that you can get bought into, which we haven't had a good storyline to get bought into in years.
Right.
I mean, we've had the only reason why people bought into the Lesnar Reigns storyline was because WWE built that storyline on Lesnar doesn't come around. And so, which Lesnar's 100% okay with being the bad guy.
Sure. So,
they built that entire storyline on that. And again, we went through it for 4 years. But Rusev, and I could go down the list. Like, I'll be entirely honest. I think Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, John Goodman, whatever it is that you want to call him, at the end of the day, him leaving WWE at this particular point, you didn't lose anything.
No, not at this point.
Now again, 2 years ago, that would have been a very different answer.
Absolutely.
But you didn't lose anything. So I don't think WWE's even sour about that. It's kind of like,
It's like, I wouldn't really say they play favorites, but they definitely have their certain stars that they pay way more attention to than they do anybody else.
Well, I mean, I think some of that is Vince-isms of what he wants to be the picture. But my argument to that, to anybody that would say that now, when they say, well, he doesn't fit Vince's type. Well, Kofi Kingston doesn't fit Vince's type.
I was about to say, especially now, you can't tell me what Vince's type is if you look at the champions.
No, I mean,
forget the rest of the roster.
Kofi doesn't fit
They
Vince's
couldn't be more
type.
opposite right now.
Seth Rollins doesn't fit Vince's type.
Right.
Seth Rollins.
That's illegal.
That's sour meth. So
you find that next to the Rosa Romaine
in your produce section.
Is it sold by Ted DiBiase?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
No, that's who owns the store.
It's
$1 Million Man.
Great. So
no, Ted DiBiase is not the $1 Million Man. That's on a whole nother level.
So, it's just, I don't think there is a Vince's type anymore.
Right.
I mean, I really don't, except for blondes. But
It's true.
the difference between now and then is again, it's the fan base is different from what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the same people watching it, and you're not catering to the same crowds anymore. John Cena ushered in and pretty much carried the PG-13 or the PG era for WWE.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And now you see them slowly trying to pull away from that for 1 hour a night on Raw. So Heyman's going to get Raw. Bischoff gets SmackDown.
So
Heyman has never had to book a 3-hour show.
But he's not going to be alone. He's going to have plenty of support.
Well,
and this is the perfect time for him to learn.
I agree.
I don't think Heyman has to learn though.
Well, just to
I
adapt
think
to it.
he'll
I think he's probably
better for him.
I mean, think about it this way: has he had to book a 3-hour show? No. Has he seen atrocious booking on a 3-hour show for years now? Yes.
He's been a part of it.
He's been a part of it. He was part of that atrocious booking.
Atrocious.
But I think
Why don't you go sit in the corner with Smith?
it'll be actually better, give him more room to have better ideas and.
I don't disagree. I just he hasn't had to do it.
No.
So I mean, even ECW pay-per-views were about 2.5 hours.
But it still gives you more time to have more creative wise.
But sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
My interest.
Continue.
My next question would be with Heyman specifically. How does this impact his on-screen character with Brock, and are either of them going to be on-screen? Paul Heyman's separate, without Brock, of course. But
I don't
do you
think
think
it
they
changes
ever?
anything.
Yeah.
Well, obviously WWE was like they put it on their Twitter account.
Slow down. Think about it and enunciate.
But no, they obviously wanted everyone to know this, so having Heyman on the show coming out with Brock, where are they just not going to address it? 'Cause
I don't see why
obviously
you would
everyone
need to.
knows.
No, I mean, it's not like he's in
No,
a general manager role or something like that. Like, he's creating the show.
But
And
he's
But that's a lot bigger than being the general manager.
Right.
Like, this is not the guy he's not a figurehead for
like
the television.
even just saying having
can't
someone
take
come out and
Heyman
announce
Yeah, I was about to
that.
say, you can't just take him away and it just be Brock.
I mean,
No,
Paul
I'm not
Heyman
saying
and Brock
to take him
Lesnar are
away.
synonymous together, and I don't see it for that reason really messing it up.
No.
I'm not
If
saying
not, it gives
yeah.
more of a exciting, because he actually gets to write what they want to do, so he can go out there and do it how he wants.
So let's bring this back to the topic that got us into it, which was Rusev.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, see how easy we were able to get away from that.
That's exactly what I was like. Wow,
That right there tells you that right there tells you his level of importance in fans' minds.
Yeah, that really
That you
does.
can get right away from the topic and not even realize it. But regardless of what happens with Heyman or Bischoff, you're still going to have guys, because these shows, if you actually go onto WWE's website and you go to the rosters, I mean, there's 40 to 50 superstars on each one of those rosters. You don't have enough TV time to build storylines for 40 people on one night. Those rosters combined are over 100 people.
Do you think they...
And right now, so just think about that for a second. Rusev is one of 100 people that isn't being cast on one of two shows that's only seeing about maybe 10 to 12 people total being used per week.
Do you think
And
that's...
there's over 100 on the rosters.
Do you think that's one of their problems, is them overstacking their rosters?
Well, they're not overstacking their rosters. They're being good business people by securing people so they can't go somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then people want to actually wrestle. That's what they...
Well, that's not. I don't think largely that's not the concern. The concern is what he was saying is just don't let them go elsewhere.
Right, but how is that fair for...
Didn't say it was fair.
Well, they don't have to sign.
Well, and the other
Right.
side of that too is that, so let's take this, let's think about this from the Rusev perspective. He really hasn't been used in any kind of important way on WWE television for probably going on about 9 months now. And so what does that look like if WWE sits down with you and says, hey, we want to give you a 5-year extension on your deal, and then he asks the question of, okay, well, does my TV time change? And then the answer is, well, maybe. If Rusev then signs, well, then that's on Rusev.
Yeah.
That's on Mike Kanellis. It's on Maria Kanellis for re-signing. Because you know who the top people are on the roster who's going to get TV time every... Shane McMahon's going to get 15 minutes on each show regardless. Mm-hmm. Regardless. He's going to. Why, I have no idea. Because at this point, WWE was very correct when they said that he was an attraction, which is why they had him wrestling at special events. The Big Four every year. Because watching Shane at a pay-per-view, you knew he was going to do something crazy.
Right.
But now you've taken some of that away because he's being fed to us on every show.
Well, they've just gotten carried away with it.
So yes, he is popular, but it's the same. So everything's good in moderation.
All right.
And as they're force-feeding this, which we've seen fail time and time again with WWE, when you force-feed the fans something, they begin to hate it. Well, if you're Shane right now, that's perfect because he's supposed to be a heel.
Right.
So, and for really all intents and purposes, he is the on-screen character for the Authority. That's what he is.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid they're going to get carried away and go to the point where now Shane ends up with a title. To me, that's too far.
With a title or the title?
One of the titles.
I just didn't know if you said like the title, like
So,
meaning WWE.
but we've seen that before.
Missed that. I'm sorry.
We've seen that before.
But that's what I'm saying. Let's not rehash it. Let's not do it again.
Vince was ECW champion.
We didn't like it then.
No. Vince was WWE champion.
Again, didn't like it then.
No.
But it fed a better storyline then.
Him being the ECW champion.
Talking about the other one, not that. The ECW.
I don't even remember him being ECW champion.
The do-rag. How do you not remember the
everything.
do-rag?
Oh, yeah.
It kills me every
Came
time I
out
think
with
about
a
it.
enhanced.
I remember now.
He came out with an enhanced Vince McMahon strut,
And then, in fact,
and it was horrible.
if you went back and listened to some of the promos that were cut by Vince McMahon at that particular point, it would get him probably removed from his position as chairman of the board if he did it now.
Without question. Yeah.
Because there were some very racially insensitive comments that were made by Vince McMahon in that character. And WWE swept it underneath the rug, and now they just hope nobody ever brings it up.
The one that I think is when he sees John Cena backstage.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Or when he was talking to Teddy Long,
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
and he dropped the hard A. He didn't drop the ER, but he dropped the hard
He
A.
did it with John, too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I'm talking about when it goes to that kind of stuff would never fly. Nowadays.
Absolutely not.
So,
So-
here's a final answer.
So we have a listener that has actually contributed to this conversation who says that his recommendation would be for Rusev to go to New Japan.
See, that's what I was
Ooh.
thinking.
That would be the only other
ROH.
place that he could fit.
Yeah, but I think he goes
For
there
sure.
and he becomes a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
His size, his ability, because the guy is super talented. He's ultra athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And he moves really
he
well for a
survived.
big
But
dude.
if you remember when he first showed up, he was the super athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he survived a character transition, which a lot of people don't, which is going from like a hated heel because you're all about Russia, like USA sucks, to becoming one of the most, if not the most loved babyface on the roster when Rusev Day really took off. So for him to be able to survive that type of character transition says a lot about who he is as a performer. Because
Yeah,
he can
true.
fit any
No,
role.
you're right. You're right.
Any role, really.
You know what I think would be a good matchup? Rusev when he first came in and Samoa Joe.
You know what that would be, right? You want to tell him what that would be? That match?
It would be Smash Mouth.
100%.
That's what that match would be.
Be Smash Mouth.
That'd be an awesome match.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah. So I think that's a great place for Rusev, actually.
That is.
It might be the best possible place that he could go. Because I don't see Ring of Honor, I don't see Impact. If you want to have a career, don't go to Impact.
Yeah, do not go to Impact.
So,
but you know what? Back to what we were saying, I still think he stays.
Yeah. Same.
Nothing that we just said changed that. Like, I still think he stays in WWE. He may be frustrated, but I think he's comfortable.
Exactly.
Well, it depends on how frustrated.
Well, but like if he stays,
but you know what to expect. You get
Right.
to a point where, like with Dean, he knew when he woke up on Monday and he checked his phone, he was going to be depressed because they're going to have him do whatever promo or whatever stuff he didn't want to do. So you just get, I mean, I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm just saying like you get used to stuff like that. So he would know, all right, either I'm not going to be used at all, or I have to do this, or he'll enjoy doing whatever.
Look at it this way. Rusev's, yes, probably extremely frustrated.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
He's making money. And with the lack of use, he's saving his body.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
depending on which angles he decides to look at this thing from, there's positives for him in the role he's in right now.
Yeah.
Even though the role he's in right now sucks.
Yeah.
But it does affect his wife as well. So,
Potentially.
I mean,
in their relationship.
Well, going to New Japan would definitely impact
Right.
his relationship.
sure.
But
But he doesn't need Lana. Lana needs him as far as performing goes.
in the ring.
That's accurate. She's not as
She needs
quality into the ring as she is on the microphone and just being able to participate.
Well, and then they took her, taking the accent away. She's not. She is in zero way, shape, or form now unique.
Yeah, I mean she's not. There's nothing about her that's unique.
Yes, we called her basic.
So she is. All right, so let's move on to the next topic of the evening, and that is we've seen these promos for weeks now of Aleister Black. So today there was a little bit of a shift in the rumor of who Aleister Black's first opponent was going to be following these promos as to who knocked on the door of Aleister Black. And what I found was their supposed plan. I'm excited about the match because Cesaro is an ultra talented person. And I'm actually be excited to see them let him do something good because I can think back to when he first split from his tag team with Tyson Kidd and he started his feud with Sheamus. Cesaro is a freak of nature when it comes to his strength and his ability in the ring. I mean, he's probably one of the best performers overall. He's not great on the microphone, but he's a great in-ring performer. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to see the match with Aleister because it's also something new, not something we've seen before. But I feel like you wasted 4 weeks of promos to let Cesaro just be the one that knocks on the door.
Yeah.
Wait, how do we know it's Cesaro? Or that it's just speculation right now?
That's the speculation.
Okay.
So the legendary Dave Meltzer has said that the current plan, which as much as many of us don't care for him, 95% of the time, he's right.
I'm just not excited for the feud.
No.
I mean, I'm not because...
And Cesaro's on Raw.
What difference does that make? We're in a wild card.
It doesn't matter.
No, but if Eric and Paul are going to have their own shows and the wild card rule is going to be
but that's speculation. We don't know that yet.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, even if that's a possibility, do you think they would really start anything really new right now?
Well, they got to start with something because they just had somebody knock on his door for the first time in his years.
I think Randy Orton.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'd be more okay with that. And I think it's more for me because I want to see Cesaro for all the reasons you mentioned. I want to see him in something meaningful.
Right.
I want to see it lead to some sort of title, something. I mean, God almighty. Mm-hmm. Because
Other
he is that freak of
title.
nature in the ring. I want to see it lead to an individual title. Or just be, like I said, a meaningful feud.
Him and Ricochet.
Like, he just feuded with Ricochet.
Well, not the
Him
title.
and Finn.
Fine. Okay.
Aleister and Finn?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could
Maybe
I could
the
see
demon knocked on his door. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I could get down with that.
Well, I think the biggest disappointment
But I
is
don't
that-
think that was it.
No.
I do think that we as wrestling fans have a really bad habit now of we build in our mind when we see these things who we want it to be. And it doesn't matter who it is if it's not the person that we're building it to be.
Like remember when Matt and Jeff started feuding and everyone wanted, like, it was, I don't even remember how long ago, but Jeff ran off the road, he was like attacked, the firework thing, and everyone wanted to be Christian who was attacking him, and it was actually Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I was very
Well, that's
disappointed.
when Sean kept getting attacked, and it ended up being Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go, rehashing.
So, Nico has started a poll over there on our Facebook page on Facebook Live for our broadcast, and he was asking if folks were excited about the Alistair Cesaro potential match. And right now we're sitting at 100% no.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
At least we're not the only one.
100% of the people listening.
I'm going to vote.
No,
I'm not.
Absolutely not.
No, they are not excited for that match.
I absolutely love both of those guys. 100% both of those guys. But
We also have a listener that believes that Bray Wyatt is the individual knocking.
See, I don't think they should do that
I
yet.
feel like that's too...
I don't think they should. Not yet.
I want it to be.
well, in his whole let me in thing, like, he's asking Alistair to let him
like I
in.
said, it
And
was...
they're both televised promos as opposed to in-ring.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see.
Time will tell.
I'm like I said, I'm 100% hopeful that it's Bray.
But can I just go on record and ask, why didn't he answer the door when someone knocked on Tuesday?
Because he had to smile at the camera.
Speculation.
Like,
Which was a very
Make you think.
almost
you're
awkward.
begging people, right? So when he
discomforting
just sat there and
smile.
he smiled, I'm like, wait, so you're begging people to knock, but you're not going to answer the door because someone's there right now, right?
We got to tune in the following
That's what
week
draws you in.
I know, but it's just like one of the things, like,
because we're all going to watch.
You're overthinking this.
I guess,
Yeah,
I guess,
We're all going to watch.
I guess.
Just to find out.
that's right.
I do want to know who
So,
is still waiting there. So
Moving on from
So you've been standing there at the door for a whole week.
Just saying.
Maybe it's a man at the door
Just saying.
when literally he's like, "Come in." So on next week's episode, he's going to get a text. Hey, can I come in?
Look, okay, I don't want to just walk in.
So, moving on from one disappointing topic to another, WWE Stomping Grounds was this past weekend.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
It was better than what I thought it was going to be, but it still lacked like a major. It didn't do anything for me.
It was Super Showdown, slightly upgraded.
The pay-per-view buy rate is out for that, by the way.
Would you really even call them buy rates anymore?
Well, they're still buy rates because you still have to, if you're buying it from a cable provider, whether it be Verizon or Comcast, it's still a buy. So WWE, on average, since the WWE Network launched, averages between 14 and 16,000 buys for their pay-per-views. This is what they've averaged since the network launched. The buy rate for Stomping Grounds, 9,800.
Killed it.
That's a big drop.
Killed it.
Big T.
It won't even in the double digits. So, what does that say about their ability to put on a good show?
I don't know if
It's
it's
the same
anything
thing
about their ability to
over-
put on a good show.
it's just
I think it speaks more to what we've been talking about with they haven't put out anything recently that makes us want to watch.
And you just can't really base pay-per-view buys like that nowadays. Because AEW, people are complaining about spending $50 for an AEW show that everyone went into expecting to be a great show.
Mm-hmm.
And people were complaining about that. Everyone assumes Stomping Ground was going to suck. So it's even more reason. If you're on the fence about buying what you are pretty sure is going to be a great show, you know you're not going to buy a Stomping Grounds pay-per-view. It actually was a pretty good show. So,
Yeah,
but
it wasn't bad.
it sounds horrible, but I really don't think it's that big of a deal. And I don't think they're going to view it as that big of a deal.
Well, I don't think
Pay-per-view
they-
wise.
Yeah, I don't think they view it as that big of a deal given the fact that it's it's a situation where they've got the WWE Network, and that's really where
That's
the
all
money
they
is right now.
Right.
That's all they care about.
And it's not like
I
it's
would
one of
be-
their major pay-per-views.
Yeah,
Right.
Now, that'd be a big
Everybody
issue
should be
if it was
seeing
like a
just
major-
bonus.
yeah, and I'm sure it is at this point.
So, the thing for me about Stomping Grounds overall was, I don't think they're doing anything in the ring that is clarifying storylines. So they're trying to build storylines, and again, it goes back to the predictability factor. So think about the fact that as we were sitting there watching the main event, I said, after Lacey was announced as the special guest referee, Becky comes out. This sets up a match for Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
It's Seth and Becky
got it on
versus Lacey and Drew McIntyre. And lo and behold, what do they announce on Monday?
Did you say Drew?
Sorry, not Drew McIntyre.
Be Baron Corbin?
Baron Corbin.
God, watch
So
it.
it
we
actually
swap?
would have been better if it was McIntyre.
Can we make that a thing?
But when that happened, and then they lo and behold on Monday, what do they announce? That's
yeah.
your main event for Extreme Rules. So now we're going to have another
Predictability.
WWE pay-per-view where the Universal title won't even be defended.
No, the titles
The
are on the
titles
line.
are on the line.
Oh, that's right. They did say both of them are on the line.
Yeah.
Becky's
Yeah.
defending hers as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that.
Winner take all.
So
Which I have a bad feeling about. I have a
I'm
bad
not. It
feeling.
almost makes me nauseous to think that they put the belt on Baron Corbin.
If we're even contemplating Shane being champion, why is it so absurd that Baron would be?
That's a very valid question.
I'm going to start chanting Lesnar, though.
You know what, though? That would be the only way that they could turn Lesnar face instantly. Mm-hmm. Would be for Baron to win, and then he cashes in on Baron.
Right.
Brock Lesnar everybody becomes a Brock Lesnar fan right then.
Yeah.
The moment that happens.
Well, at least for that 5 minutes that it takes place.
Well, if that.
Yeah.
Come in, F5 belt.
So just remember, he's
That's
been
how it
waiting
would
for
go.
2.5 minutes. Bell rings. That's $1.3 million in his pocket. $697 to show
That's
up,
so crazy.
$1.3 to wrestle.
To be
Where
one
did we
move.
go wrong?
Right.
We're still sitting at a damn table.
and we're 28 cents in.
That's
28
So-
cents, baby.
So one of the things that I did want to talk about with Stomping Grounds overall was, thoughts, opinion, best match, worst match. Ladies first.
It's kind of hard. I guess best match would be Samoa Joe Ricochet, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Worst match would be... And I don't even like saying the worst match, but
Least favorite.
yeah, was the Becky and Lacey Evans one. I was rather disappointed by it. And you could see how frustrated Becky was, and I think it really showed how good Becky is in ring to be able to carry that match as well as she did. And not expecting Lacey to be perfect, and I'm not saying it's well, I guess partly I am saying it's Lacey's fault, but it's
Well, we
it's
know
just
for a fact
she.
you're not going to say it was Becky's fault.
Of course not. Please.
Even if it was.
Even if
Even if it was.
come on, let's.
Like, that's not going to be said on this show.
I would definitely. It never will be.
Well, not by you anyway.
Right. But no, so I guess because we know it was too soon for Lacey to begin with. But yeah, that was just my least favorite.
Okay. Smokey. What you got from me, man?
I don't know.
He was asleep in the corner of the couch.
I was not asleep. I think, to be honest, my favorite match was the steel cage match with Kofi and Dolph.
Dolph? Okay. What was your least favorite match? Need Jeopardy music for him.
Probably the Seth Rollins Baron Corbin match.
Okay.
That was your least favorite?
Yeah.
Double K? Your thoughts?
I'm going favorite match or whatever, or best match, Ricochet Joe.
Okay.
Least favorite.
Now we need Jeopardy music for Double K.
I mean, I can sit here all day.
I'll just move on.
Least favorite. God, I don't know. Maybe.
It's hard, right?
Kind of gonna echo what you said and go. Becky and Lacey.
Same choices.
Yeah.
Exact same choices. Interesting.
I wasn't a massive fan of the Kofi and Dolph match, but the way Kofi won that match
It was pretty cool.
bumped it up there
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not something we've seen before either. So
That's
that
what
was
I'm
a
saying.
different
So
way
just to
for
see
somebody
him
to
launch
win.
himself through the door.
That's why.
I mean,
picked
that
it
was
as
pretty
one of
cool.
my favorites. This is something you've never seen before.
Like, the match itself was nothing extraordinary
No.
or outrageous or special. It was good, but
So-
that finish, the way he exited, just kind of.
For me, it was Joe Ricochet is the best match of the night. In fact, one of our listeners also agrees that the Joe Ricochet match was the best match of the night, and that's your buddy Kevin Mears. He's in on tonight's conversation. So that being his
Slip on my
favorite,
hat.
that being his favorite match. It seems like there were several of us that was also our favorite match of the night. My least favorite match was Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan, and Heavy Machinery.
Really?
Because I feel like this was the moment that you could end the pointless tag team of Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan and actually put the belts on some folks that matter.
What?
Which is Heavy Machinery, because they're an up-and-coming tag team. I'm not an Eric Rowan, Daniel Bryan fan. Daniel Bryan should have stayed retired. But
What?
I don't disagree.
In my opinion, Daniel Bryan has not really done anything.
Well, I also think he's at a different stage in his career. He doesn't necessarily have to go do the things that he used to do because he's already been there, done that. I'm not a huge fan of him. I think that unfortunately for him, his injury happened at probably the worst time that it could have happened, which was
Right.
when he was at the height of his career. And
Yeah.
so that steam went out the window.
Sure.
And so he is nothing more than an example of WWE investing in someone whose time has already passed.
Well, I think when he did come back, they tried so hard to recreate the Yes movement and just almost pick up where it left off. And it just wasn't there.
It was
Like you were just saying. The
Too much
momentum,
of a gap.
No, he's still super talented in the ring. Don't get me
Oh, yeah.
wrong.
but
he's
that
one
momentum
of your
was
top
gone.
performers.
That underdog momentum.
was just not there
It
anymore.
just wasn't there anymore.
The best thing that they did with him, even though I hated that, was the whole vegan cork
The planet's
title.
champion.
Cork.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was made out of. It's recycled cork.
You can
So,
buy a replica.
the,
Go to your
I
shop.
I think my McDonald's
For like, what,
cups were held in
$15?
that. It looked familiar. I think my sweet tea was in there at one
Yeah,
point.
probably. But yeah, I mean, I just that's my opinion on it. I'm also going to read another comment from one of our listeners who talks about WWE, and he said it's insane to watch WWE throw away a pay-per-view, and companies like Impact and Ring of Honor go all out for each pay-per-view they have. Shows how lazy WWE is.
Very
So,
true.
That's fair.
I don't think any of us could have said that any better.
No.
Because shows like Impact and Ring of Honor, granted, it's... You ready? Scale it.
Scale it.
Scale it.
Got to scale it.
Scale it.
Got to scale it.
Got it.
You scale it.
Scaling it.
They have to go... This is going to sound weird. All out. But they have to go all out.
in.
Because they need...
True.
They need that extra excitement and momentum. I think WWE has allowed their legacy and their history and their past to carry them.
Well, WrestleMania is a prime example of that. We buy tickets in November
Yeah.
before we have any idea who's
Who's
going
gonna
to
be
be
on
on
the
the
card.
pre-show.
Yeah.
Like, we have no idea.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
But we buy... It was November, right?
Yep.
Pretty sure
Yeah, it was November 10th.
Yeah.
Was when they went on
so
sale.
That's a
What-
prime example of it.
Like I said, we've already agreed that we're going
Next
Hey,
year.
next year.
we
We have no idea who's even going to be on there.
WrestleMania was just 2 months ago.
And we'll end up hating every match that goes on, but we still bought our tickets 6 months in advance.
Right. Right.
So, but that's also why I tell people that, like, if you're going to say that, I have no problem telling you that I'm still a WWE fan.
Sure.
I think they're struggling right now. I think they do need to change some things. Hopefully, we're going to get that.
Well, I think,
but I wouldn't be wearing their merchandise and still watching their shows if I wasn't a fan.
Right. But I think what you were saying about they've allowed their legacy to carry them, I think we're almost at the end of that point where where they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't really anybody else. And you've said it 1,000 times, the indie scene can thank Hunter.
Well, yeah, I mean, NXT is what gave birth to the new indie wrestling scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think once that happened, you know, the legacy carrying the company and carrying shows ahead of time and during and after, those days were numbered.
Yeah, I think it's fair. So let's move on past WWE Stomping Grounds as I sort through my paperwork here in front of me. And
I said it before. You can always tell when Tommy's had a day off from work.
We
have a 7-page run sheet.
I know.
So
Color coordinated again.
Let's talk about. You would know about colors.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
So Seth Rollins spoke out against Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
He did. It has been an interesting week for Seth.
Yeah, he spoke out a lot.
Smith has been all over the board.
That Smith is.
Smith is something else.
This group. So how do you guys feel about that?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Somebody needed
to do something. Somebody needed to say something. Do something.
Are we talking about the Dean Ambrose thing specifically, or his tweets?
Well, I'm
talking
about it all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, people, ourselves included, have kind of been throwing WWE under the bus now for 6 to 8 months. Ever since AEW announced that they were going to be a thing.
I wouldn't say we were, because I think we're pretty fair.
I mean, I think, well, of course, we think we're fair, but we
were still throwing them under the bus because we were talking about how poorly they were doing. So it doesn't mean that we were ill-intentioned by it. It just, we were giving our opinion of the product that we're watching. Again, if we weren't fans, we wouldn't watch.
Right.
So, for me, this is the equivalent of WWE retaliating against AEW without WWE having to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You let one of your top guys, who everybody knows is good friends with the other guy.
Seth is the perfect guy to do it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I'm sitting thinking, who would be better on the current
It would either
roster?
be him or Roman. Those are the only two guys that I can see carrying
everyone would know it's not actually coming from Roman.
Right.
So Seth, it's believable. If you think about back when he was a heel, he's great on the mic. He's one of the best that they have.
That's true.
So he can just talk all day and it'll be fine. But he, especially with the time with the Shield and everything like that, he was the best person to reach out and say anything. And like you said, someone had to. Someone had to.
It was time. I mean, I feel like WWE had been quiet for too long. Since AEW put on that hell of a show a few months ago, but Vince wasn't going to do it. Hunter wasn't going to do it. It needed to be said, and it needed to be done. Somebody needed to stand up, in a prominent position within the company. Who better than your Universal title holder to step up?
That's true.
And take the lead. He should be the point man.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good with it. It was actually nice just to see the change of tone for someone speaking out. I got Nico feeding me threads over there. So the statement here from one of our listeners again is the captain of the team, Seth Rollins, has to speak up for the team. If he doesn't, shows he's not a true leader.
All right.
Like I said, who would have been a better point man?
Yeah, I mean that's a very valid point. I think that Seth Rollins, I think you could tell two different things if you go through and read the tweets and then his actual interview response about Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, whatever. Basically what Seth was trying to say. Which did you guys get a chance to listen to the interview that he did?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's no surprise there. But so. So, being off today, I was able to provide you the transcript of that interview so you could see what Dean Ambrose said.
Thanks, buddy.
So,
Seth Rollins?
yeah,
What a guy.
it's on the second page. But
Be sure to get your mouth close to that when you talk.
one of the things in basically a summarization of what Seth had to say was his response to Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, whatever it is you want to call him, was basically, I get that you were unhappy and you did what you had or what you wanted to go do. However, you should be careful about bashing the company that made you who you are. So that's a pretty strong statement, but again, we've had conversations about like that before because you guys know that's my biggest beef with CM Punk is don't throw the company that made your career, made you who you are, don't throw them under the bus. So, CM Punk would have never had a UFC career if it wasn't for WWE.
Can we actually say that he had one?
Yes, because that was the best part of his career in my mind. But
I almost wore my CM Punk shirt today.
that would have been, and she could have stood staring at the door.
I had it on. Had it changed.
Saw that coming.
Oh, Nico's got another feed coming my way. But, so, how do you guys feel about Seth Rollins' response?
I feel about that response just like I felt about the others. I feel like it probably needed to be said. Who better to say it? It had to be Seth or Roman. Seth is the guy.
All right, so y'all remember a few weeks ago we were talking about what John had said. That you can't be just one person on the face of the company, right? And how we were talking about how they were trying to force Roman on us, and I told you it's just going to be one of those things that kind of just happens.
Yeah.
I think Seth is that just happens kind of guy right now.
Probably. This is probably the most interactive that we've had in a show so far. And none of this started really coming together before A-Man got here. She comes on board, and then everything just goes through the roof. Listeners go up, our Facebook followers go up. Everything starts going up the moment she gets involved.
It's pretty smash mouth, isn't it?
So there's
Me and you.
There is another half to that equation, though, and we owe a huge debt of gratitude to Nico behind the scenes. Because, folks, I'll be entirely honest, that guy makes us look good. So,
absolutely.
There is no question about that. But
He even made my calves look big.
That's
He can make yours look big, but he still can't make his look big.
But so Nico started running a poll for us to determine whether or not Seth Rollins' comments were good or bad. And right now, as the poll stands, 67% of our listeners believe that the comments are bad. And 33% say they're good. So clearly there's a discrepancy between what we think and what some of the listeners think, but that's the beauty of everybody having an opinion. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's going to agree, and we get that not everybody's going to agree. I think this is perfect because I think it feeds into, this is now, for me, what happened with Seth responding to the comments made by Dean Ambrose is a validation that it's not a war yet,
but it's coming.
But the shots are being fired at each other. Very subtly, very indirectly, but the shots are being fired. So when we talk about AEW a little bit later on, we're going to talk about what Kenny Omega had to say about a stunt that WWE pulled. So, it's going to be interesting, but again, I don't think there's a war right now, but the shots are being fired back and forth, very slowly. So if you think about like back in the old World War I days, the trenches are being dug.
What was that like?
The moment I said that, I I knew one of the three of y'all were going to say something.
It's probably going to be either me or Double K. So,
So that's where we are right now. The trenches are being dug.
Do you still have your
They're
musket?
fortifying. They're fortifying. Can you go find your beads? They are fortifying their defenses. Don't do it.
Isn't that him up front?
That's what I'm saying.
Really, you two now?
Tommy T is the only man in the room that has never had to actually dig for a World War II relic. He just already has them.
No, he is just one.
I hate all of you.
You opened that.
So, anyways, I think that we'll see what comes of this long term. But since the two of you haven't seen that interview yet, you should probably read the transcript or go listen to the interview.
Scrubs.
So,
you want to fight?
Please don't.
I ain't scared.
You should be.
We're not going to have a table.
Nope.
You already gotten body slammed once this week.
You got body slam Sunday night on a couch.
Remember that?
I recall.
Now I just realized how inappropriate that sounded.
Well, but it's not because we were there and we know what.
Yeah, but everybody that's listening
No
and
one
watching
else knows. They just now knows. But
What? What'd you say?
let's
What'd you
just
say?
move on. Let's just move on.
So, how do you guys feel about WWE's new approach to a more sports-driven product? It seems that all of their matches are going to be 2 out of 3 falls.
Stupid.
Okay.
Hey, all
Nico,
right.
how about you ask our folks that are listening what they think about WWE's new 2 out of 3 falls rule? This was the closest thing that Vince could get to rounds. Apparently the production meeting that was held on Monday was that Fox wants a more sports-driven product, so this was their effort to try to get a more sports-driven product, so that the main purpose of this is so that there is no wrestling during commercial breaks when you're at the show.
Right.
So you're basically going to be staring at 2 guys in the ring waiting for the program to come back from commercial before they start the next match.
I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it, honestly. I'm going to reserve all opinion until I actually see it. I don't know.
You didn't watch SmackDown, right? Then no, that was an honest question.
Yeah, yeah.
You did watch SmackDown? Okay.
So, I'm going to... There's a couple different parts here. I'm going to come back to this when we finish our conversation about the 2 out of 3 falls matches. But I don't... How is it that you try to drive a more sports-driven product by eliminating the action?
Makes 0 sense.
Well, and that was my first thought to that. Oh, God. Scared. But that was my first thought to that because if the goal is to be more sports-like, commercials aren't planned around the action.
Right.
It's not like the basketball player or the teams are going to be like, oh, hey, we have to stop. We're going to commercial break. Whenever they do a timeout is when they throw in a commercial.
Right.
The companies and the advertisers react to whatever show is going on.
Sure.
It's not like at the Super Bowl they're like, oh, wait, you can't run your play. We have to have a commercial. So
Right.
That's what confuses me. Why would this be a solution to be a more sports-like product?
So the only thing that I would tell you there is I would disagree with you because I travel frequently to Virginia Tech for football games in the fall.
I'm sorry.
And when they have... When was the last time UNC had a relevant football team? I'll wait. So
We have equal...
the-
I think we have equal number of championships, though. don't we?
When there's a guy that wears a red jacket that comes out onto the football field, that's your indication that they've gone to commercial break. So nothing does happen
They stand there and wait.
until it comes
Really?
back from commercial. Then that guy walks off the field, and then the game resumes.
While
That's why it
they're-
takes. Yep. So think about this.
Really?
Yeah. Here's your answer to that. Think about this.
Okay.
How many minutes are in a quarter of football?
12.
Nope. 15.
15.
So 4 of those is what?
It's 12 in basketball. I'm sorry?
4 15-minute quarters is how much?
Why am I on the spot right
So
now?
it's an hour.
It's an hour, yeah.
So if they were to just play through, why does it take 4 hours to play a football game?
Can you repeat what you just said?
So it takes an actual game of football is an hour long.
Too much math.
If they were to just play
She
through,
didn't say 1362, so we're good.
so that's true. If they were to
Thanks,
just play
Double K.
through on that hour, it wouldn't take 4 hours to have a football game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have a
Because-
halftime and everything, too.
Because they pause for the commercial breaks. That's why it takes an hour to play 15 minutes.
I mean,
So that is the same argument that they're using here, is they're just not going to have action. But my confusion with them is, so we just talked about earlier about how you got about 12 people that are showing up between the two shows. Well, now you've dropped that to about 8. Because you've got one match that takes 30 minutes. So I'm not a fan of it. I don't know where it's going to go long term. But we've got a couple of different. I think Nico's over there running a poll for us, and it looks like 100%. God, I hate you. It looks like 100% of our listeners agree with us that the 2 out of 3 falls match. It's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's just a bad idea. So I'm going to read some comments here that Nico's been feeding me. One I've got to share specifically for you guys since you want to rib me on my age. One of our listeners graduated high school with your mother. Mentioned her by name.
All right.
Says he now feels old.
You're welcome.
So that was one of them. Hold on, let me move on to the next set here. So one of our listeners also commented about you had your WWE champion get beat in 20 seconds in the second fall last night. That doesn't look good. Because that's what happened.
That is what happened.
and it was to a super kick.
Yeah.
When was the last time someone
gonna say
lost
that.
a match to a well, not counting a Shawn Michaels match, but like honestly, like when was the last time that someone actually lost to a super kick?
Yeah,
I guess their justification there was he didn't like lose.
Well,
He lost
no,
the
that's
ball.
what I'm saying. Like that's what another reason why I don't like this concept, because Kofi wouldn't lose a regular match to a super kick,
well, he did.
but
But he did.
he just lost the fall.
He lost the second fall, which
Still
was a
losing.
match.
But yeah,
Still losing.
I know,
I get
but
what you're saying.
but the whole concept of it is just
It's-
so.
I don't think that they're going to end up
Weird.
sticking with it. I
Yeah.
really don't.
I think it's dumb.
If I were Paul and Eric, this would be one of the first things besides the wild card rule that I would have to go, all right, that's got to go.
Yeah, I think they're just grabbing at straws right now because it's been such a tailspin of crap
Yeah.
in the last little bit. I think they're just grabbing at straws, hoping they're going to find the one that works.
This is not going to be it.
No, I don't think it is. So moving on past that, for those of you that watched Raw and SmackDown and paid attention, we did not get an episode of the Firefly Funhouse this week, but we did get an appearance by Mercy the Buzzard and Abigail the Witch during segments on both Raw and SmackDown.
It was all 4 of the characters.
At some point in time, yes. Raw, Mercy and Abigail showed up on Raw, and the other 2 showed up on SmackDown. So, where did they show up, man? Because I know you watched it.
I did, and I actually took notes, but they're not with me. They're out there.
Did your dog ate them?
No, actually,
Yeah.
she didn't eat this. Surprisingly, it's a whole other story. But no, it was Abigail the Witch who showed up when Miz was in the hallway
Yep.
on Raw. Kofi was stuffing pancakes behind the championship title in the hallway, and I think that was the pig?
Yes.
Okay, and then SmackDown, the other 2. One was when Carmella was talking to Bayley, I think.
Yep, backstage.
Yeah, and then the other one was Daniel Bryan, when Daniel and Rowan were walking in the hallway.
Yes.
forget which one that was.
That
but
was the
the
red
other
guy.
character. Yeah, cool.
So
Look at that memory.
they all showed
you.
up.
Not bad.
So clearly, I think this is kind of the WWE's way of saying Bray's return is getting
Closer.
closer. Maybe I'm thinking realistically, probably at Extreme Rules, because we are just it's 2 weeks from this Sunday is Extreme Rules.
So maybe he was the one knocking at the door.
So that would actually be exciting.
Let
That'd be
me in.
worthwhile.
No, absolutely. I can get on board with that 100%.
Going back to some comments from our folks that are listening on Facebook Live, they were referencing, one of the guys says that they must have been following my super kick. That's your buddy Kevin Mears.
I think the last time we saw Kevin Mears take a super kick, there was a boot print right around in here somewhere.
Yeah, it was almost like it was a shoe impression
Yeah.
that he had on his face. And then we have one of our listeners that asked about when was the last time someone lost to a hip toss.
Anybody want to claim that one real quick? Smokey Z?
So
I'm still waiting on Smokey to claim it. Come on.
this is one of those see what happened was.
Own up to it. Only person I've ever seen on any level of professional wrestling.
But who's a two-time IC champ, though?
Who got pinned after? Who couldn't get up after a dick toss?
Who's the two-time IC champ?
Who hasn't held a belt since?
Right.
And when have you held one?
Well, you didn't
I held it
participate
for
a
2
while.
months and then relinquished it and didn't
Yeah.
participate for almost
So that-
6 months.
Hip
So-
toss. Hip toss. You know who called you out on that?
Sarah. That's
Absolutely.
hard.
That's exactly
Right on.
She
Thanks,
sure did.
Sarah.
who called you out on it.
Took her about
Um,
13 minutes and 62 seconds to get to that.
So now let's talk about, speaking of Extreme
I
Rules,
think Dane's watching.
what is your expectations for Extreme Rules? I did give you a copy of the card so far. If you wanted to take a look at it, we've got the, of course, winner-take-all mixed tag team match. Then we've got the two big dogs versus Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. We've got Kofi, Samoa Joe, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, and then Drew Gulak and Tony Nese. Rematch there for the Cruiserweight Championship. What are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to?
Kofi and Samoa Joe.
I think that's going to be a hell of a match.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely think that's going to be a hell of a match.
Right now, I think
That one I'm
is
kinda-
the match.
I'm
Right
kind of
now.
a toss-up. Who takes that one? We talked about who's
Well,
the,
you got a
who's the
couple
one-
weeks to decide before you got
Yeah.
to get your picks in. So
We talked about who's the person who's going to take the belt off of Kofi. Joe might be that
It
person.
might be. Maybe.
Because, I mean, he did just lose to Ricochet.
he
Lost
did
the-
drop a title. It's true.
That's true.
Right now, that's the one I'm looking forward to.
I have absolutely zero interest in the Seth Becky, Lacey Evans, Baron Corbin match. Zero interest.
Can we just talk about how we feel about them?
You know what? You talk about whatever you want.
Thank you, Double K. I appreciate that. About showing their relationship on TV. Like, it's just weird.
I think they were at a point that had to because
No.
everybody knows about it.
I mean,
Well,
you
I
can
think-
address it, but it doesn't have to be a storyline.
That's another John Cena.
Like,
Ricky Bella.
I liked the whole, like, you know, since they had segments overlapping each other, like, if she was coming out, they would pass each other on the ramp or something like that. You know, a small little acknowledgement, but it's just weird. I feel like it takes away from both of their
Well,
characters.
why is it weird? They've done this time after time after time. We just saw it with Nikki Bella and John Cena. The Miz and Maurice.
I don't think the concept is weird, but I think
Hunter and Stephanie.
no, but
The
I
biggest
think
one.
with Seth and Becky's characters, they are two alphas. It's weird to see Becky have an equal, even though it is a
Wait a minute,
male
wait a minute, you just-
version.
Yeah, it wasn't that Seth had an equal. Wasn't that Seth had an
No,
equal? It was
Becky has an equal. No, whatever.
I only say
And
that.
my justification for that is who had the most hype, besides Kofi, on the build to WrestleMania. It wasn't Seth. It was Becky. Everyone was talking about Becky,
I
so
agree
that's
with you
why,
100%.
Do agree with that.
But
as
her
the
hype
star
existed
on
because of
Raw.
somebody else.
that's a whole other story. That's
Well, I mean, but I think it's a fair story. I think it's a true
Right.
story.
It is.
If it's Becky
Because
Charlotte at WrestleMania,
Whoop-de-doo.
Well, one,
We've
it
seen
wouldn't
that
be a
over and
minute.
over again.
And two,
but they
what
added
hyped
Ronda in
Becky?
there.
What hyped Becky? Who
Becky.
is Becky? What hyped Becky?
Hey, him and his meds.
We got Smith and Beggies.
It's time. Smith and Beggy have been mentioned.
When you have, if you take Ronda Rousey out of that equation, you take out the potential confrontation that we didn't get to see happen at Survivor Series. The whole Becky revolution doesn't happen.
Nope.
Because her return after getting her nose broken is what built her up to that pedestal.
The seed was planted, and it started at SummerSlam when she snapped and attacked Charlotte. Because everyone wanted her to win then, and she didn't. Charlotte won. And that's when she was supposed to be turning heel, but the fans loved her so much she wasn't going to be a bad guy. Like, they weren't going to boo her for any reason. Ronda definitely helped propel her to the WrestleMania main event, but Becky's momentum and her popularity the past year was not based on Ronda Rousey. It definitely took it to the next level, but Becky would have been popular without Ronda.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have main evented.
I'm not saying she would have necessarily main
So,
evented this year, but
I'm not disagreeing with you that Becky's popularity is because of Becky. It's authentic. It's from her character. But her relevance is entirely due to Ronda Rousey. Because so just bear with me for just a second.
I'm trying.
Ask yourself the question, before that feud started, what was Becky doing?
Ronda and Becky before Ronda and Becky
Before
started.
that, she got announced as Ronda's opponent for Survivor Series.
It was Becky and Charlotte.
Right, which we had watched for over a year.
Well, it was
They
still.
would have done the same thing.
It
Just
was
like
going
all
to
the
be the
rest of them.
exact same match.
There was she didn't have that
Yeah.
hype. That hype wasn't there. She didn't have it. You can't tell me a point in time before that moment when she got her nose broken by Nia Jax that led her to her build other than her just being Becky Lynch.
No, it started at SummerSlam. Her popularity,
Her popularity,
and her
Her
momentum
relevance.
became
transcended
popular,
to the next
yeah.
level at
She-
SummerSlam before Ronda was ever introduced into anything relating to Becky. It started at SummerSlam. I was either going to say relating or regarding, so I was like, I know it's one of the rewords.
So we're clearly not going to agree on this, and that's okay.
But you don't think that it started at SummerSlam?
No.
Becky's popular, like
I think it's two different things.
So her shift in her character started at SummerSlam. Her relevance as a main event factor for the show
Started with Ronda.
started with Ronda Rousey.
Oh, I'm not disputing that
So
at all.
That's what I'm saying. You're both saying two completely different things.
So, because I'm talking about her relevance, you're talking about her popularity. Those are two different things. Her popularity is her own. She owns that. Her ability to talk, her ability to perform, she owns all of that. But you take, quite frankly, I would say the same thing about Charlotte Flair. You take Ronda out of that equation, and again, there is no women's main event at WrestleMania.
No,
It would have been, in my opinion,
So-
Kofi and Daniel.
No, I
And
think they could have built
at
to
some
it.
point in
yeah.
time,
But this
yes.
past year, no, not without Ronda.
So-
yeah, I agree with you on that.
She is what allowed Becky to transcend. Because why? They built Ronda the same way they built Brock, and everybody just was spoon-fed right up by it. And that was, hey, break kayfabe, talk about wrestling being fake, feed this down people's throats, you'll be the heel, we give all the props to Becky, this is how we build this story, makes everybody love her, everything wins. That's exactly what they did, that's exactly what the fans responded with, because they knew that's what was going to happen. That doesn't happen without Ronda Rousey. That entire process doesn't happen. So it's not that I'm discrediting her. Her and Charlotte could probably go toe-to-toe for the most talented female that they have, without question, between her and Charlotte.
Yeah.
The only one, and he's not going to like this,
You happy?
he's the only one that I would say that could also be added to that list, which he's not going to like it, but it's Sasha Banks. Because she's a remarkably talented performer.
Yeah.
So, Nico's over there running another poll for us. He actually asked the listeners about the Seth-Becky relationship,
Oh, yeah, that's what started this whole thing.
and 100% of the folks watching say that it's a bad idea.
Yes. People.
100% of them say that it's a bad idea. So,
Right on.
you got
like
everybody's
this.
support on that.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. I was struggling over here.
So, okay, I've got Nico. He's sending me something else. I'm waiting for it to pop up. But don't.
Should I leave?
No.
Hell, if you're leaving, I'm leaving first because I'm on this side of the table.
So, oh wow. So, all of our listeners essentially are, I'm going to own this one for a moment, are agreeing that the entire women's division has cooled off and doesn't have nearly the momentum that it had since Ronda's left. That the entire women's division, and this is not, this is, I'm reading from the listeners that this is their opinion.
As soon as Ronda comes back, I bet you it becomes relevant again.
Well, I think that depends on what we get from Ronda when she comes back. She's now admitted to missing WWE.
And she actually made a post about Shayna Baszler and the other two.
Yeah, so I think when we get Ronda back, I think Ronda's prominent role as a leader of the women's division is over. I think that's done. I think what we get when she comes back is going to be a Brock Lesnar style appearance. She'll come in for big events. She'll do big marquee matches, and that'll be it.
Will
because
she
let's
hold a
face
title
it,
for months on end and never be seen?
No, I don't think that's the case. But again, you can't blame Brock for that. Brock's not the one that did
I'm
it.
not blaming. It was just a question.
So, but because I think there's still one match that Ronda needs that would be her next box office match, and that's Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania. That's what I think is your next big, marquee match for Ronda Rousey.
I can get on board with that.
So I say you have the way I see building the story is you have Shayna, you bring her up, you give her either the SmackDown title or the Raw's title, you let her hold it just like she's done with the NXT Women's title. She just mows through all of her competitors. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, at the Royal Rumble, who returns?
It's fair. I like it.
Rousey returns, eliminates the competitors. Now you've got Rousey who gets to pick her champion that she's going to challenge. She chooses Shayna Baszler. That's one. It's a storyline we've seen before, so it's predictable. Two, it would be the only thing left.
Yeah.
For her to do.
You don't think they would even try to have a singles match between Ronda and Becky? At this point?
Not by the time she comes back.
I mean, nothing like WrestleMania worthy, like maybe a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series. Nothing.
No, the reason why is because WWE likes to let the sleeping dog lie when they screw something up. So the ending of that match was kind of botched. I don't see them revisiting that.
But they keep mentioning it though.
Well, I think they're mentioning it because there's the anticipation that Ronda does come back in some sort of fashion and say, "Well, you never actually pinned me."
That's why I'm like, at least one singles match.
But what would either superstar gain? Who wins. But what would either of them gain by that?
But that's what I'm saying. It depends on when that happens. If it's next month, we would have to take a look at the whole map and see, okay, well, where's Ronda going after this?
Well, I mean, if she comes back sooner rather than later,
it just depends on when, who would go over. Yeah.
So let's get all the way back to our topic at hand, and that was Extreme Rules. Because we got so far off of that, it's not funny.
Yeah, we did.
But Extreme Rules, I'm probably looking the most forward to the Kofi Samoa Joe match. I honestly, and I can't believe these words are getting ready to come out of my mouth, the only thing exciting that I'm looking forward to the Undertaker match is to watch him come to the ring.
There you go.
Because that still has a special feeling to it when you get to watch him come out. But I have zero interest in the match. Like, I'm 100% at this particular point saying I'm okay with him saying I'm done.
I'm going to come out with wishful thinking, and I'm going to say it's actually going to be a decent, I'm not going all the way with it, but it's going to be a decent match.
Okay, it's fair.
I think they find a way to keep him
limited.
He's going to spend a lot of that match on the apron, and
well, that's what he did in Madison Square Garden last year.
Yeah,
in his triple or the 6-man tag match, he spent most of his time on the apron.
I think he's going to be there.
He got a hot tag at the end, came in, hit the chokeslam tombstone on,
and I think that's what we get.
Well, he can do that for that small period of time, but he can't go out there and have a 10, 15, 20-minute match anymore. He just can't do that.
And he shouldn't be expected to.
Well,
honestly,
again, Super Showdown, I can't say was his fault.
Well, there was a series of circumstances that led to Super Showdown's catastrophe.
Right.
The heat, Goldberg not learning from headbutting the door. I mean, there's just a lot of things that shouldn't have happened that did happen.
Yeah.
So, Moving on, that's going to wrap up our conversation about the WWE. We're going to move on now to our next topic of the evening before we get to our weekly trivia, and that is AEW. Any of you guys see the news about Evolve's 10th anniversary show that WWE made an announcement about? So, do you guys? I'm asking Double K Smokey Z. Do you know the reason that AEW's Fight for the Fallen show is named the way it is? It's okay to say no.
Yeah, I mean, it benefits victims of gun violence.
Yes. So, AEW's show, Fight for the Fallen, is supposed to be benefiting families and victims of gun violence. And WWE has now announced that they're going to air Evolve's 10th anniversary show on the WWE network at the same time as AEW's Fight for the Fallen. So Kenny Omega, who was a vice president for AEW, had something to say about that. And I didn't write his specific quote down, but basically what he had said was, if you can take blood money for a Saudi Arabian show, then I guess it's not unexpected for you to not honor victims of gun violence. So he dug deep with that tweet.
Yeah, he did.
He dug deep with that tweet. Now, he did not leave that tweet up. He has since deleted it. And then he went on to tweet again and said, I've said my piece. That's all I'm going to say about it. Moving on. So my favorite thing about Twitter is that people seem to think that even when you tweet something, after you delete it, that it goes away.
It's not that.
Can you imagine how many times that's been copy and pasted before you took it down?
Oh, yeah.
People still know what you said. It didn't. You can delete it all you want. It doesn't take away the fact that you said it. So how do you guys feel about his response to that?
I feel like I know what he was saying, and I can't disagree with what he was saying. Maybe there was a better way. But, I mean, he went straight for the neck on that one.
I think there's a reason why I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I think there's a reason why you didn't see a comment from Cody Rhodes or Brandy Rhodes or any of the Bucks for that matter. It's not something that you want to comment on or even compare, because I feel like it's just not a good look when you're an executive of a company, especially since your company is in the very beginning stages. It's just unnecessary.
Well, I think it was a knee-jerk reaction. I think it was genuine.
And I'm sure, obviously, he was emotional about it, and I get that.
He reacted emotionally rather than rationally, and that's what we ended up with.
So, do you think this is us starting to see cracks in the foundation?
Yes.
For AEW?
Well, not for AEW.
Because I can tell you that if a WWE star won, it would have never happened with a WWE star.
Right.
But two, there probably would have been a lot more backlash if it came from a WWE star.
I don't think so. I don't think it's cracks or anything like that. I think it's going to be one of those things where they maybe come together and they're like, hey, maybe, if you have an immediate reaction to something, take a minute with them because of their level.
Right.
So in the company.
I agree.
There was I can't remember the guy's name, Ryan Clark, who is a avid writer, not my favorite guy, tends to take the same story, tell it 5 times, but he rewrites it a different way each time so that it's a new story.
Does he write for WWE?
He does not. You would think so. But one of the things that he said was that Kenny Omega's response was a validation of AEW feeling threatened. So we've actually got some comments by one of our listeners that I just want to touch on before we go to you. Was one, he mentions that until now, WWE has never run an Evolve show on the WWE network. So this is their first time, and that would just happen to be the date.
But it's their 10th anniversary.
Right, which WWE has lent them several NXT stars for their shows. And they've had great matches.
And they've done that for months now.
Yeah.
Right.
And then one of our other listeners says that if your product is so good, why do you care what the other company is doing?
Exactly. Exactly.
When was the last time you saw WWE fire the first shot to try to take.
Well, I don't think this was WWE firing the first shot. I think a lot of it's coincidence. WWE did not book Evolve's show. Evolve booked their show. WWE just happened to say, hey, we're going to televise it.
And as much as people want to say, oh, they own their own network so they can literally air anything at any time they want, while that is true, but you can't... It changes when you have a live show.
Yeah.
Obviously, because they have to accommodate when that show is going to start. It's a live show. It's not like it's one of those recordings or a show that they filmed weeks ago.
Right.
They can just air at 5 o'clock if they want.
So I also want to go back. We had a comment, another poll that was running on our site during our conversation about Ronda Rousey.
Ooh.
The question for the poll was, do you miss Ronda Rousey? 100% of the listeners said yes.
Yes. That kind of people, man.
That was not something that if you asked fans before WrestleMania, they would not have said yes.
And that's what
I don't think so. Well, it wouldn't have been a overwhelming.
Well, no, because
100%.
Whenever that happens, when we have something that's around all the time, we tend to get bored with it. Mm-hmm. But then when it goes away, like Brock Lesnar, and then just pops back up, we get super excited by that. Mm-hmm. So, we've got, I'm getting more. We actually have a poll running right now that asks folks if they agree with Kenny Omega and his statement, and 100% of our listeners say that they do. That they agree with Kenny Omega. I'm not saying that I disagree with Kenny Omega.
Can we reword that? Because
I don't
you can
disagree
agree with him, but posting it online. But like,
it was in poor taste as a business professional.
Right.
For me, this was the evidence of what happens when you put wrestlers in suits.
Well, he's never been in this position before.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
This is not the time to cut a promo. And
no, like you are a top executive for what you might as well consider to be a worldwide wrestling company.
It is, yeah.
And you made a very poor choice. And it's not like you came out in an interview and said it. You actually posted it.
You made the effort to go to social media.
So you posted it, and now folks are going to continue to use that against you. And
like you said, it's out there.
It's out there, and you can't get rid of it. Anything you post on social media, you can't get rid of. Somebody's got it somewhere.
And I heard something today. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that Tony Khan's family have actually had business relationships with Saudi Arabia, and they've either bought or sold hotels.
It is hotels.
Yeah.
It's not him directly, but his family.
Well, his family.
Yeah,
so
his
that's
family
why
does
another
own
reason.
Several hotels.
Like the Kinney tweet is like it's too close to home.
Well, but
too.
it's also one of those situations that he do that, and then Tony makes a phone call and says, "Hey, do you realize you shouldn't be drawing attention to that?"
Right. Because if people want to do research, it's not going to look good.
So it's that old adage of you don't throw stones when you live in a glass house.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't blame him though. He obviously
this was his passion. This was his
yeah,
emotion.
He's putting his life into this.
He was being human.
That's what I'm saying. I get it, but there was probably a better way to go about it.
Yeah.
He was being human. I mean, that's really all it was.
Human.
So moving on, it looks like we finally have a night for AEW's weekly television program. They have officially filed for the trademark of Wednesday Night Dynamite.
Thank God it's Wednesday.
Oh, right on. I
All right,
didn't know about
right?
that. Wednesday Night Dynamite.
So they have officially filed for that trademark.
Okay.
Fitting that it's on TNT.
On TNT. So we've got a couple comments from our folks that are going that were touching on our segment that we just ended. Jason Mitchell says, "I think if it wasn't a benefit show, nothing would have ever been said," and I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't a benefit show, Kenny probably would have never opened his mouth.
True.
And then Kevin Mears, your buddy again, he's been with us the whole time. The best approach is to ignore what your competition is doing. They aren't following your business model, so why criticize it? A PG show operates differently.
That's right.
Right on.
So I couldn't have said that any better myself, and I don't think anybody else in this room could have.
No.
It's a nice little bow to that segment.
That's right. So
you tie
how do we feel about AEW being on Wednesday nights?
Love it.
Yeah.
But now, depending on what time, that could be viewed as them going after WWE because NXT debuts on Wednesdays.
Well, but I think the difference is that NXT I can go
It's
back
on
and
the
watch.
network.
Yeah, you can go back and watch that.
I mean, mean, yeah.
Like I don't think it competes directly just because of that.
Oh, I don't think it competes directly, but I do think that this is AEW's a way to see if they can take away from some of that NXT
To try,
thunder.
to try, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that's the
you can
same
go-
audience,
Well, and
essentially.
what we were just talking about, they can go back and watch NXT. They can't go back
Right.
and watch AEW. They're going to have to watch it live on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Interesting comment from Stephanie McMahon this week. She actually, when she was leaving one of her buildings, she was asked a question by the media about AEW, and she said that she felt like AEW is going to force the wrestling community to be the best it can be.
100% agree. 100%
I love that answer.
agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
So-
great answer.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't...
I hope it's
Not
true.
what I was expecting for a McMahon to say,
No.
but...
To even give any response.
Well, right, and when I saw it, the video clip, I kind of went, all right, well, I mean, that's... Now, the difference is, that's her response to somebody asking her about AEW. That's a very different response than we got from Kenny Omega, which his was, we just talked about his,
Right.
not so professional. Here's a world-class businesswoman that simply says, it's going to force us to be the best we can be.
I mean, yeah.
So,
It's-
it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same, so it's not apples to apples, but it is two very different responses from folks. So, because you got to admit, she could have taken a very emotionally charged way to respond to that, because this is a company that is potentially coming after her family's company.
She just could have blatantly said no comment, just kept it moving. So I'm just happy we got any
I'm
type
glad
of
that she
response.
answered it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she answered it the way she answered it. It was short and sweet, to the point.
Yeah.
And
And
you know what?
effective.
I hope she's right.
she-
I
and
hope
she's
it
right
does
in a
force
way.
them to
Yeah.
be better.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope
I
that's
think
what
that's
happens.
what everybody is hoping for.
Yeah, I don't want one or the other to go away necessarily. I just
No.
want everybody to be as good as they can possibly be, and let's have that war.
So, we're going to touch on our last two topics before we allow A Man to defend her weekly trivia championship.
And you're wrong on our paper, by the way. I have two wins.
I haven't gotten there yet, but I appreciate your
Oh, okay.
overzealousness.
You only have one win
I
with
have
the
two
three
wins.
of us.
With the
Oh,
three of
okay,
you,
with the
it's
three
only
of
one
us.
win.
Either way, I still have 5. See all those arrows?
The You're ridiculous. Omega believes that his match with John Moxley at All Out, that Moxley is not going to be prepared for his match. How do you feel about that?
He said those words?
Yep.
Why would he say that he's not going to be prepared? I think he's going to.
Well, I don't think he said that he wouldn't be prepared. He just said that his match with John Moxley would test Moxley's in-ring ability.
Of course it will. With
Keep in
their
mind, Kenny
style.
Omega is the guy that wrestled a blow-up doll in a ring in Japan.
Second comment.
It happened, Nico. Don't shake your head at me.
It did.
It happened.
It did.
A 12-minute match with a blow-up doll.
How do you have a
That's 7
12-minute
minutes
match?
longer than Nico's 5-minute match with one.
Let's get back to the topic. How do you feel about Moxley?
Are we going to see the whiteboard?
That's all I was
I didn't say it,
I'm
Nico.
trying to
I didn't say it. So, Smokey Z, what's your take on that? Moxley is going to get tested by Kenny Omega.
I think it'll be the other way around.
Okay.
All right.
Amen.
I feel like it's like a, well, duh type of question. And, like, how would he not be tested?
Yeah.
They've never fought in an actual match, so obviously they're going to have to get used to each other. And it's going to be different to see John Moxley. Is that to me?
No, that's him.
Okay. But, yeah, I just...
To me?
And it's cool to see John Moxley instead of Dean Ambrose. So...
Okay. Double K.
I just don't understand why I would take that shot at him. I think they wouldn't have brought him in and given him the entrance and the platform that they gave him immediately if they thought that he was going to come in unprepared.
I think that was Kenny Omega, the wrestler, not the executive.
I think that
I hope so.
AEW has consistently said that they are not going to have creative writers. They're not going to have storylines. I think this is their version of a storyline. More of a UFC approach of, talking smack about each other.
Yeah.
Until you get in
Which
the
is
ring.
exciting.
That's very different than what we get
sure.
from every other promotion. So that's what I think we're going to see.
And if that's it, I'm 100% on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
The last thing that I want to talk about with AEW is I want you to pick one superstar that you think should leave WWE and go to AEW. One superstar, male or female, that should leave WWE and go to AEW. Double K, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Come on, man.
Well, I've already
need a
picked
minute.
the other two to
I
go
need a minute to think
first.
about this.
One superstar that I
One superstar.
that should jump ship and go. Let's see what this gets.
One of our listeners, posted with regards to our last conversation, said Omega will work circles around Moxley. Moxley is too used to WWE style of wrestling. He'll adjust, just not immediately.
Fair.
Exactly. Spot on. One
All right, Double
superstar.
K, what you got for me?
I'm going to go Big E.
Big E.
We've been, how many times in our circle, not necessarily on this show, but, our full circle of friends that we're always with, how many times have we talked about now it's time to break New Day up? How many times has that conversation come about?
Well, we talked about it for about an hour this past week.
Yeah, but I could see Big E being okay anywhere.
Jason Mitchell says Cesaro.
Fair.
I'm gonna go Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke. Now, that one wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I think,
Although he's already said he's going to resign.
yeah, which isn't surprising, but I think
Oh,
putting Shinsuke himself to the side, the relationship that could be improved between New Japan and AEW, who better to bridge that gap?
Yeah, that's true.
I know they chose ROH recently for their U.S. shows or whatever, but man, I just think he'd be a good little bridge for them guys.
Kevin Mears says Zack Ryder.
I mean, I could see him fitting.
I don't think he'd be a big star for them.
Well, I don't think he's a big star.
But
no
he would be
matter
a
where
good
he goes.
utility worker.
Yeah.
I think he's way better than what he is now, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, they could use him kind of as their bridge. He can be their good gatekeeper. So, Smokey Z, what you got?
Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler. Okay, I would not have guessed that. I think he fails in AEW.
Me too.
I think he's too much of a showman.
You think it shouldn't be him?
It shouldn't be. I think Dolph Ziggler in AEW fails. I don't see his style of wrestling going well with that style of wrestling because it is not the same. I mean, go watch Cody and Dustin's match at the start of Double or Nothing. Mm-hmm. That is a very different style of wrestling than what we get on Monday Night Raw.
Well, what we get on Monday Night Raw is just about subpar to everywhere.
That's true.
No.
Jason Mitchell agreed with your logic of who you would put in AEW.
Thanks, Jason.
So
You got to speak into the mic.
So.
You got to put it close to your mouth.
All right. So
Tommy T's whole head just turned red.
it's going to wrap up our conversation part of the night. It is now time to go to our weekly
I
trivia.
didn't say it that time.
I didn't say it either. I mean, I may have spoke out of turn earlier.
I did.
Hey, I tell you what,
My comment.
the best way to handle that is with a hip toss. He won't get up.
Just wait until we finish. It's fine.
My comment was off the cuff, but Still not as bad as yours.
I don't care.
A defiant Smokey Z.
I did nothing to you.
No, she's
I've
left you alone.
never. Yeah, I don't think I've ever said anything.
So next thing you know, she.
What did I do there?
So the
I
next,
don't know.
she's gonna put like vinegar in your vape. That would suck.
That would be amazing. How funny would that be?
We'd all be.
That's actually a great
We need
idea.
buttons.
Oh, we do. You do need buttons.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
All right. So we're going to bring it a little bit more modern this week, and we are going to start with a pay-per-view event. No, easy over there. We're going to start with an event. We're going. Your first 10 questions tonight for Wrestle Rewind Trivia are going to be from Taboo Tuesday
Ooh.
from 2004
How
and 2005.
fitting, because Eric Bischoff, that was his idea.
Exactly.
I see what you did
Don't
there,
act like you
Tommy
did
T.
that on purpose.
I did.
I did.
I figured he
So-
did.
You went Valley Girl. I did.
These questions are multiple choice. Please remember that if you touch your buzzer before I finish the question, it eliminates your ability to answer.
Can we
Each-
discuss this afterwards, the
Yes.
stipulation?
Yes, we
Okay.
can. Afterwards.
After we finish.
Yeah.
Maybe write that down.
So,
Button.
so here we go. Question number 1. Against whom did Chris Jericho defend the Intercontinental Championship at the first Taboo Tuesday in 2004? Was it Christian, Batista, Shelton Benjamin, or William Regal? Double K.
Shelton Benjamin.
Oh, hold on. I got to go find my answers.
Hey, passes readers over here.
I don't like you. It's been a while, apparently.
I should say 4B.
What was your guess, Double K?
Shelton Benjamin.
It was indeed Shelton Benjamin.
Go ahead and put a 1 down there, would you?
I should have already done it.
Question number 2.
Hey, good to know your brain didn't go on vacation.
That happened last week.
What type of match did fans choose for the Ric Flair-Randy Orton bout at Taboo Tuesday? Was it a submission match, a Falls Count Anywhere match, a strap match, or a steel cage? Smokey Z.
Submission match?
It was not a submission match. Double K.
Oh, God, I lost it. What are the other 3?
Falls Count Anywhere, strap match, or a steel cage?
Strap.
It
was
was
a
not
steel
a strap
cage.
match.
Was it a
It was a
cage?
steel cage match.
At least you didn't get the answer.
Question number 3.
So frustrating.
What did fans choose for the weapon of choice match between Snitsky and Kane at Taboo Tuesday? Was it a steel chair, a lead pipe, chain, or brass knuckles? Smokey Z.
Lead pipe?
It was not.
That was. Wait, I thought we were supposed to hit the button again?
I
I thought you
just
just
hit
meant
it again.
Oh, okay.
So which because if we go off the second time, she got you.
What?
If it was the first time, I hit my button right after he hit his.
Right.
Of course she's going to say that.
Well,
No, but
that's what
if
happened.
we were going up. Stop.
What's your answer?
Can you give me the choices again?
Yes.
Because now I forgot the
Were you
question
the one
too.
complaining about
Was
that
it a
last
steel chair, a lead pipe, a chain, or brass knuckles?
A chain.
It was a chain.
I was complaining last week because it was used against
Why are you
me.
whispering when you're talking into a microphone? Jesus.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Against whom did Triple H defend the World Heavyweight Championship at this Taboo Tuesday event? Was it Shawn Michaels, Edge, Kurt Angle, or John Cena?
Can you repeat the question?
Who did Triple H defend his World Heavyweight Championship against? Smokey Z.
Is it John Cena?
I was waiting for
It was
the
not.
answers again.
Edge. I've already hit it.
It was not Edge.
Can you give me the... Oh, I can't answer that.
No.
Sure can't.
So I keep trying to mess with your...
It was Shawn Michaels.
I could start with messing with
What
that
city
button.
played host to the very first Taboo Tuesday? Was it Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, or Milwaukee?
Calm down.
Amen.
Minneapolis.
Where?
It was not Minneapolis. Double K.
Chicago.
It was not. It was Milwaukee.
Well, she said Minneapolis.
I said Minneapolis.
You said what?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis.
Who was the last diva eliminated by Trish Stratus when she retained the WWE Women's Championship in a Fulfill Your Fantasy Battle Royal at Taboo
So cheesy,
Tuesday?
man. Jeez.
Was it Nydia, Molly Holly, Victoria, or Gail Kim? Smokey Z.
Gail Kim.
It was not.
Nydia.
It was not Nydia. It was Molly Holly.
Oh, that was my first guess. I
Whom
was
did
like,
Big
oh.
Show and Kane defeat to win the World Tag Team Championship at Taboo Tuesday? Was it Cade and Murdoch, Carlito and Masters, Snitsky and Heidenreich, Val Venus and Viscera? Double K.
The first one. Murdoch. Was it Caden Murdoch? Is that what you said?
It was Cade and Murdoch.
Yeah.
Who assisted Jonathan Coachman in his match against Batista at Taboo Tuesday? Was it the Wild Samoans, Paul Orndorff and Bob Orton, Earthquake and Typhoon, or Vader and Goldust? Amen.
Pretty sure he was still saying gold dust when you hit it. But go
I don't
ahead.
think he was. It was Vader and Goldust.
It was Vader and Goldust.
Yeah.
That's like the last time Vader was in WWE.
No. The last time he was in WWE was when he wrestled Heath Slater on Monday Night Raw when he was doing his whole, facing a legend
yeah.
every Monday
Okay,
night.
That's right. You're
Wrestled is a overstatement, but
right. Well, yeah.
What type of outfit did fans choose for the Fulfill Your Fantasy Battle Royal at Taboo Tuesday? Was it leather and lace, nurses in uniforms, lingerie, or cheerleading outfits? Hey man, I was still saying the last word when you pressed your button. Eliminates you from this question. Double K.
I mean that was 2 in a row anyway. That you did
Whatever. That's a lie.
that. Lingerie.
It was lingerie.
Seemed kind of like an obvious choice. You want to go ahead and put that mark on there? Go ahead. If you're keeping score. That's 3 for me, 2 for you.
Against whom did Ric Flair defend the Intercontinental Championship at Taboo Tuesday? Was it Triple H, Carlito, Shelton Benjamin, or Chris Masters? Double K, I was still
I
saying
think
the
we
last.
both got.
No,
Yeah.
you're before me.
No, still
So
both hit
it
it
would be
before.
me.
I was still asking, or let's listen
Oh,
to the
then we're all
last one.
disqualified.
So the only one
He
that
didn't hit anything.
Yeah, you did.
No, he didn't.
I did after he
he
finished.
did after I finished. So Smokey's either you were the only one that's eligible for this.
It's your fault. I
Carlito.
left it to you hitting your button.
It was Carlito. Smokey Z gets on the board.
I knew. I knew it.
Me
That's all.
too. We got to change this for next week, man. I
What do you mean
think
change it?
She only complains when she's losing.
no, because I think if
She
you know
doesn't like
the
that if you-
answer, you should be able to hit your button at any time. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. It doesn't change anything.
She complains more than Ronnie Dayvalt Jr. wearing a maid uniform.
I have no idea what that means, so whatever.
I
I have no idea what it means.
All right, moving on. What team won the four-way elimination match in Your House Ground Zero?
know. No, we shifted gears. Huh?
We did.
Oh wait,
Thanks for
What was
say
the
that
question?
again?
Start over.
What team won the four-way elimination match at In Your House Ground Zero? Was it the Headbangers, the Legion of Doom, Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, or Degeneration X? Double K.
Legion of Doom.
It was not. Smokey Z.
Owen Hart and the British Bulldog.
It was not. It was the Headbangers. What team did not participate in the 4-way elimination match? The Legion of Doom, the DOA, or the Godwins? Amen.
The Godwins.
That is incorrect.
I have
Double
no
K.
idea.
Legion of Doom.
That is also incorrect. It's DOA.
I was like, let's see. Maybe
Well, if
that's
they
why.
didn't win,
I was like, maybe they did. That's why they didn't win.
Members of what NFL team once appeared in the audience at November 1998 Raw is War? There is no multiple choice. Amen.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
That is incorrect.
Wait a minute. What was the actual question again?
Members of what NFL team once appeared in the audience at a November 1998 Raw is War?
I feel like we all three
Packers?
see the answers here.
It was not. It was actually Double K's favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Really?
I feel like on that one we all should have got a guess because there's 30-some NFL teams.
And it wasn't really like a helpful question. It was like a random Raw.
I've got a fan comment. I'm sure this is in response to Double K's poor.
It could be. My poor what?
Ronnie DeVaults has responded to your statement,
That's good.
and he
Hope
said,
he says it with his chest.
he said, "Hey, watch it, Chris Keith." So, this next question also is not multiple choice. So each of you will get an opportunity to answer.
Okay.
Vince McMahon once appeared on what NBC morning program in November 1998? Double K.
The Today Show.
It was the Today Show.
Was that a guess? Just a random guess?
No, that's the only NBC morning weekday television show that anybody watches.
That's true. Stone Cold Steve Austin was a guest presenter for what November 1998 award show?
Dang it.
Double K.
The ESPYs?
It was not.
Oh, there's. Okay. None of them are multiple choice anymore?
Nope. Well, I'll let you know if it's
Oh,
multiple
okay.
choice. This one is not.
The Grammys?
It was not. It was the Billboard Music Awards show.
Really? That makes sense.
Right.
So we'll switch gears again. So please keep in mind that none of these questions are multiple choice.
Great.
Okay.
Well, we're going to be here a while. It's going to be question like, remember that time when that dude was at that Monday Night Raw back 6 years ago?
Right.
Nope.
Who made his WWE debut by coming up from under the ring at the WWE St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
Both of y'all hit the button before you even finished.
It's not multiple choice. Though.
Yeah.
not a multiple choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
hit
you
it
said
first.
it after, before you
She
finished
hit
the
it first.
question.
It was Big Show. Paul White.
It was. For multiple choice, yes.
Oh.
You didn't specify multiple choice.
I thought it
Pay
was.
attention. We knew the rule.
Yeah.
So
Said if they hit the button before you finish the question.
if it's a multiple
Yeah,
choice,
because that was the
because I
whole
have to give
thing.
the answers. And they kept hitting their buttons
Oh, I just
before I
put
even
that
gave
down.
the answers.
Because I know that was right.
Yeah.
It's like iconic.
Which
when
Jersey
you-
Shore cast member made her WWE debut? Double K.
Snooki.
It was Snooki.
I can't believe she had a WrestleMania match.
That was terrible.
Stupid.
What are you going to do?
Whom did Brock Lesnar F5 on Raw when he returned in... Amen.
John Cena.
It was John Cena.
Yes.
You gotta be quicker!
How am I supposed to know what the end of the question is?
Maybe you should get vinegar in that vape. Pep you up a little
I'm
bit.
not asking that one because I want to be too easy. You don't know that one too.
Pre-tap for the next one. Smoke, if you start swinging for your button now, you'll get it.
Who won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the Elimination Chamber match at No Way Out of 2009?
2009. Is
Amen.
it Edge?
It was Edge.
Yes! Tied game.
It sure was.
I like that comeback though.
Whom did Jinder Mahal defeat at Backlash to win his...
I think I might be wrong.
Okay. Well, now you got to go.
I'm not going to finish the question.
Randy Orton?
It was Randy Orton.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. I love it. It's not multiple choice.
Who was the first WWE superstar to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam?
Oh. What year was that?
There's no year. He was the first person to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. So the first time that belt changed hands
You didn't mean to do it?
at SummerSlam. Amen.
Bret Hart.
It was Bret Hart.
Did you see her face?
Well,
Yep.
So now we're going to dig real deep. Real deep. Like 4B deep.
That is.
that's like another
That's like
level.
mid-size.
Another
Yeah.
dimension.
Yeah. Whom did Bruno Sammartino defeat for his first WWE Championship?
And it's one of those you would think you would know.
No
I'm trying to think
multiple
of
choice.
the year.
How about a hint? Well, if you guess the year, that's pretty solid right there.
A hint. This individual's last name is also the last name of a popular fast food restaurant. Amen.
Wow, who's McDaniel?
No, that's McDonald's.
I know, that's why I'm going with it though. Like,
Nope.
because like McDaniel, could be like the cousin to McDonald.
It's
But it's-
completely
But
different.
it's really close.
It's 100%.
This is the same. The last name is the same as the last name for a popular fast food restaurant.
God, I can't pull it. I'm trying.
Each of you get a guess because it's no multiple choice.
Here, we got 10 seconds. Give another hint.
This individual's first name identifies a relationship between two people.
McDonald.
We've already put down that.
No, she said McDaniel.
That is true. It's a different answer.
It's a different answer.
So what are you pointing at? Oh,
Yeah.
did somebody give the answer?
Buddy
That's on there?
Rogers.
Buddy Rogers.
Yep.
Oh. Wait,
Roy Rogers is a popular fast food restaurant.
what is it?
Roy Rogers.
He must have eaten
that
there
is.
when he was a kid.
Like World War One
Yeah,
time
somewhere
frame?
in there.
So
Oh, that's so messed up.
which two members of
A-Man is
the
really a blonde.
which
Hey, Wahoo McDaniel begs to differ.
Obviously, I knew that wasn't the answer, but it was pretty similar. And
which
who's
two
Roy
members
Rogers?
But he said the same.
which two members of the Heenan family cut Andre the Giant's hair?
Ooh.
Can you repeat that?
Which two members of the Heenan family cut Andre the Giant's hair?
I can think of one. I don't even know if he was one of them. Like a Heenan family member. Oh, crap. Yeah, I don't even know if this second one I'm thinking of was even a Heenan family member.
Nico, I need a countdown.
$13.62.
5 seconds.
What? What happened to the other 10? Haku and Prince Hakeem.
No, it was Ken Patera and Big John Studd.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it.
Who
had
was
no
Steve
idea.
Austin's first manager in WWE? Amen.
The $1 Million Man?
It was the $1 Million
Ted
Man.
DiBiase?
Nope, sorry, that's not the right guy. It was Ted DiBiase. God, stupid.
Which Mongolian monster broke Andre the Giant's ankle in WWE?
Oh, man.
Poor Smokey.
I just watched this documentary the other night.
Oh, you did?
It was really good. Oh.
Oh!
Amen.
Let's have a name, man.
Well, be careful. The last time she did that,
She's like, I don't know. Here. Bret Hart.
Well, because yeah, that one. I don't even know.
How about a hint? She doesn't know. She just said, I don't know.
Yeah.
This individual's last name
This went real well last time.
is
Roger, what is that?
also the name of the villain in Star Trek 3.
Really?
I feel like this hint is harder than the actual question.
Right. Now I've got to figure out Star Trek.
Was
And
that the
I
first, the
guarantee
second?
you.
Okay, so here's another hint for you. This one's going to be more obvious. So
You know what? I think I got the last name. Is it a one-name answer?
It is a one-name. Well, it's not a one-name answer. The answer is the full name, which is the first and the last name. The individual's first name is an action. Well, yeah, it's kind of
That could be any damn thing.
This individual's last name is also the last name of the current owner of AEW.
That's a great hint, but can I just give you the last name?
I need the full name. That's the answer.
We'll give a better hint for the first name. It's an action. Sneeze. Sleep.
Michael Myers was a blank.
MurderCon.
No.
He was a murderer.
Serial con?
Nope. Hey man, what's your guess?
A fine gentleman.
Lunatic?
The individual's name is Killer Khan.
I was close.
Most.
I said MurderCon.
I don't even know
The
what the
hints
question
were
was.
hard.
I'm just.
The hints were harder than the
Yeah.
question.
Who bought the contract of Hercules from Bobby Heenan?
Yeah. I'm entering my stage of brain power right now. That last one wore me out.
I know.
Who bought the contract of who?
Of Hercules from Bobby Heenan. This individual is a WWE Hall of Famer. Double K.
Mr. Fuji.
Negative.
Ted DiBiase.
It was Ted DiBiase.
Well, $1 Million Man.
I went back
figured
too
he'd
far.
be the only one who could buy a contract.
What did Miss Elizabeth remove to distract the referee at the first SummerSlam? Hint?
Sure.
Hint? Hint? It's an
Go ahead.
article of clothing.
Her dress.
No.
That's close enough. I'll give it to you. It was her skirt.
I'm talking about.
I just need one more.
Which rising superstar ended the Fabulous Moolah's Women's Championship reign at the Brawl to end it all?
I wish you could give a year. Can
I
you give a
know.
year?
I don't have a year.
Rising superstar back then?
Yes.
Who beat Fabulous
Who
Moolah?
beat the Fabulous Moolah? She was not just a WWE superstar. In fact, she is more famous. Let me finish. She is more famous for what she did out of wrestling than what she did in wrestling. She was involved in the first WrestleMania. Amen.
I don't know why this name came to me. It's probably like a Wahoo McDaniel.
It wasn't him.
I know. Was it Wendy Richter?
It was Wendy Richter.
Well, I was thinking Wendy Richter, but you threw
So,
me
ladies
with
and
the
gentlemen, that is
Allen
10
Richter
points.
stuff.
A Man Retains is now a
She went to the ring with
two-time.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yes. A Man is now a two-time Wrestle Rewind trivia champion.
Two-time.
Still playing catch up.
I'll have to
wasn't here.
give you your belt again. Folks, that,
You only gave me one time.
Jesus Christ with the two of you. That's going to wrap up another episode of Wrestle Rewind. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm Tommy T.
Double K.
Smokey Z.
And amen.
We will see you guys next week live at 8:30 for another episode of Wrestle Rewind.